Hello and welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's June 18th, 2020, and this is episode 48. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my blog, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. The Black Lives Matter movement continues full force here in the United States. And as I mentioned in my previous podcast, there are many feature films and documentaries that these movie studios are currently making available for free digital rental, at least through the month of June. We'll see if they go a little longer beyond June. Some of them I think might even end a little bit before June, but anyway, we'll see what they decide to do. But I've been using Apple iTunes. That's kind of my digital platform of choice. I also have Amazon Prime Video, but both services, and I'll have links to these in the podcast notes in my blog if you're not already connected with those two services. But they've got a lot of films, both feature films and documentaries, that are related to the Black experience in America, and I think a lot of things that are definitely worth watching. On iTunes this past week, I watched the film Ali, which is from 2000. It was made in 2001. It's the biopic of Muhammad Ali, directed by Michael Mann and starring Will Smith as Muhammad Ali. And I don't think it was one that I had actually seen in the theater in 2001. So I was happy to be able to watch it, and it's a really interesting film. It takes place kind of after the Olympics, where Cassius Clay that he participated in, and when it's when Cassius Clay meets Malcolm X, and then which really sets his life on a different trajectory. He becomes Islamic, and he changes his name to Muhammad Ali, and anyway, it's a very interesting film. Michael Mann has got an incredible attention to detail. I mean, that's just one of his hallmarks, and so you really feel like you're in that time period. And I really, that's one of the things I really enjoyed about the film. Will Smith also is just absolutely terrific in the lead role as Muhammad Ali. I know he worked very hard for both to get in physical shape but also to really master that cadence of how Muhammad Ali spoke, which was so unique, and he just aced it. So that part was really, really interesting to watch. The movie has a lot going on, and I felt that it got a little bit too bogged down with so many different characters and so many different things it was trying to communicate, and it almost seemed like a combination of a feature film and a documentary. And I think I would have probably preferred more of a feature film that really focused on some key points of Muhammad Ali's life. Again, but it covers a lot. Still, though, a very interesting film, and one you might want to check out if that is of interest to you. On Amazon Prime Video, this weekend I'm planning to watch a documentary that I've been wanting to see called I Am Not Your Negro. It was made in 2016, directed by Raoul Peck, and it's based on the American writer James Baldwin's an unfinished manuscript of his called Remember This House. The documentary is narrated by Samuel L. Jackson, or as sometimes my friends and I refer to him as Samuel F&L Jackson, given his preference for some certain language. But we'll see what kind of languages he uses in this film. But this film explores the history of racism in the United States through Baldwin's reminiscences of civil rights leaders like Malcolm X, again, and Martin Luther King Jr., as well as Baldwin's personal observations of American history. So I'm really interested to experience this, and think it's going to be a very interesting window illuminating the struggle for civil rights of our African American brothers and sisters. The Netflix service also has an interesting film that they've just debuted. It's a brand new feature film. It's a Spike Lee joint, so directed by Spike Lee. It's called Da 5 Bloods, and it's a war drama. It stars Delroy Lindo and Norm Lewis and clearly a lot of other actors. But the plot follows a group of aging Vietnam War vets who return to Vietnam in search of the remains of their fallen commander, as well as a buried treasure that they buried while they were there. This film is getting really great reviews. I haven't seen it yet. It's rated R by the Motion Picture Association for strong violence, grisly images, and pervasive language. And as I mentioned, it's now available on Netflix, and I hear that it's a timely piece of art. For reviews this week, I'd like to talk about a film that just debuted on the Disney Plus streaming service, and it's a film adaptation of the fantasy book Artemis Fowl. Now, Artemis Fowl, as you may know, it's actually a book series. Really kind of not unlike, it sounds like Harry Potter or that kind of thing. It's a fantasy book series. I think written mostly for young adults as the primary audience. But the first novel, which was just called Artemis Fowl, was published in 2001. These books are written by the Irish author Ian Colfer. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Mr. Colfer. This film version was directed by Kenneth Branagh, and what I had heard is that this film or what I read in my homework, is that this film has been in really kind of development hell, as the term goes, in that movie rights were secured many years ago, and they just haven't been able to figure out how to get it on the big screen. Finally, Disney got the rights around 2015. Hired Kenneth Branagh. They filmed it in 2017, and then it was supposed to get released in theaters in 2019, and it got rescheduled based on what Disney was trying to do with their release schedule. It was supposed to come out, I think, over Memorial Day weekend this year in theaters, and then because of COVID-19, Disney decided just to put it directly onto Disney Plus, which I think, frankly, was a good thing. This film is an absolute mess. So I truth be told, I've not read the book Artemis Fowl or any of the book series, and I wasn't familiar, so I'm not familiar with these characters. But boy, this movie didn't help in any way, shape, or form. Artemis Fowl is the name of our protagonist. He's actually Artemis Fowl II. It's a 12-year-old boy. He's a prodigy. He's a brilliant kid. They call him a criminal mastermind. But his father, who's Artemis Fowl the First, who's also, I guess, a bit of a criminal himself, he gets kidnapped, and Artemis has got to solve this mystery to try to save his father, etc. But what's really going on in this bigger picture is this is a fantasy world. So Artemis and his dad live, above ground in Ireland, in kind of a reality as we know it. But there's this whole big thing going on underground, with elves and dwarfs and all kinds of kind of fanciful fantasy creatures. So the concept of it is really fun, right? Like it should be fun. And I gotta tell you, this film is a joyless slog. As I mentioned, just messy. I never really got a clear idea of what was going on with the storyline, and the narrative was weird. You just never. It was really hard to say. Not that it's the most complicated plot, but it was really hard to follow. Like, what in the world is is happening? Is happening here? I've heard in the book, again, I haven't read it, that there's really two main characters. There's Artemis Fowl II, the 12-year-old boy, and then there's this elf named Holly, and Holly's in this a lot. But again, it's really the way that they introduce this and the way that the characters are interacting. Also, Josh Gad is in it, and he plays a dwarf, but actually he's a large dwarf, so he's kind of been shunned because he's so big, so tall in particular. But anyway, so he's in it. Judi Dench is in it. She plays like this commander of the elfin world, and I mean, Judi Dench is always great, but holy cow, I think she looked like just seemed kind of confused and bored in this, as was I. So I give Artemis Fowl a 1 out of 5 stars. Again, it was just being a total mess, and I really was disappointed because I was excited to be able to watch a new Disney flick, and of course I was hoping that this is going to be successful, but it's one of those where, because it had been delayed so much, you just see what it's probably one of those things that they just couldn't fix, and just released it and moving on. So Artemis Fowl, just FYI, is rated PG by the Motion Picture Association for fantasy action, peril, and some rude humor, and it is available on Disney Plus. All right, well, this weekend here in the United States is Father's Day. It's Father's Day this Sunday, and a great day to celebrate our fathers and the father figures in our lives. And I just picked 10 movies that I think are really great movies about dads or about father figures, and I just thought I'd go over briefly these 10 movies to maybe give you some ideas of some movies you could watch this weekend if you're so inclined. So first up is really one of my favorite kind of father-themed movies, and it's Field of Dreams from 1989. This is the baseball fantasy with Kevin Costner and James Earl Jones, and Burt Lancaster is in it too. It's such a great fantasy movie, particularly if you love baseball, which I do. this Kevin Costner has bought a farm. He and his wife and their little girl, they have, and he and his wife have a very good relationship. It's a very happy marriage. So thankfully, there's not a lot of kind of weird drama with that. But the drama really is all about Kevin Costner hears his voice and this recurring voice saying that if you build it, he will come. And he finally figures out that he's got to build a baseball field in the middle of his farm. So he does, and some really cool supernatural stuff starts to happen, and it's got a very satisfying storyline about the Kevin Costner character's father. So, and it's a cry fest too. And I know that there's no crying in baseball, but there's crying in Field of Dreams. Next up is also another film from 1989. It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So this is the third Indiana Jones film that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas collaborated on. And this was just a total blast. Breezy, super fun. They're in search of the Holy Grail. Not unlike Monty Python, right? A little different. A little different style here. But Harrison Ford is back as Indiana Jones, and playing his father is Sean Connery. And they've got such great chemistry, and there's so many fun action sequences in this movie, and it's a very satisfying film. So, and again, I really love the relationship that Indiana Jones has with his dad. So Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Next up, of course, I've got to have a Pixar film. It's Finding Nemo from 2003. I love the storyline of Finding Nemo so much. So, Nemo gets, he kind of wanders out too far, and he gets scooped up by some scuba divers. And his father, who's very neurotic, the father's voiced by Albert Brooks, tries to go out and find him. So he really has to get out of his comfort zone to try to find his son. And very satisfying character arcs for everybody. Ellen DeGeneres plays the fish Dory, who's got short-term memory or just memory problems, and she's hilarious, and it's just, and the animation is absolutely stunning. And again, I really love this storyline about a father and a son, and a father really learning to let his son grow up. So Finding Nemo is a winner. Next one is Liar, Liar from 1997, and you're probably thinking, what in the world? This is a really broad comedy starring Jim Carrey, and if you've never seen it, I really highly recommend it. Jim Carrey plays an attorney who is a flake with his son, his only kid. He's just a total flake, and when he doesn't show up for his son's birthday party, his son wishes, the wishes that he has when he's blowing out the candles is that at least for one day could his dad tell the truth. And boy, hilarity and as well as some heartfelt moments follow. it's a great movie. Again, kind of a fun and unexpected father-son movie. So Liar, Liar. I picked one more Pixar movie, so thanks for indulging me on that. But the next film is Up from 2009. Now, again, you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with fathers? Well, Carl Fredricksen, who's the old man voiced by Ed Asner, he is a widower, and they're trying to, some developers are trying to run him out of his home, or just, buy his home so they can build a skyscraper or some other kind of heartless project. And people are trying to get him to move into a rest home, and he won't do it. So he ends up flying his house with a whole bunch of balloons away, and he's going to go to South America which is a place where he and his deceased wife dreamed of going throughout their whole married life. But it turns out that there's a little Boy Scout. I mean, well, he's a wilderness. Trying to remember the exact, but they didn't use the term Boy Scout, but that's what he is. And his name Russell, who was a kind of an accidental stowaway. He was on the porch when the house actually got lifted up by the balloons. So here they are going to this foreign country, and Carl really becomes a father figure for Russell. And Russell needs a father figure because Russell too has got an absentee dad, and Carl needs a new purpose in his life because with his wife gone, who really was just the center of his life. So it's a terrific adventure, and I just love the relationship of these two, and I just love the concept of somebody, kind of unexpected, can be a father figure, and also it just gives a new twist to that kind of relationship. So anyway, I absolutely love Up. Next one is To Kill a Mockingbird from 1962, of course based on the beloved novel. But Gregory Peck plays the single dad Atticus Finch, and what an incredible father figure, and what a great character Atticus Finch is. Always inspired, always moved by this film and by this story, and really admire the character of Atticus Finch, and think that just what a good dad he is, and just really what a good human being he is. So terrific movie. Next up, Sleepless in Seattle from 1993, and this one is just such a great romantic comedy, as you might recall. Hopefully you've had a chance to see it before. But it stars Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks also plays a widower, and he's got one kid, and through a radio program, this kid here's I'll spare you the details of the plot, but it's Meg Ryan is also in it, but they live across on opposite coasts, and this little kid really tries to orchestrate the two of them getting together. It's a really charming romantic comedy, but it also is just a happy film. That's also one where you bring the Kleenex. It was directed by the great Nora Ephron too. So Sleepless in Seattle is definitely a good one. Now I had to throw in a Disney film too, and I picked The Lion King from 1994. Don't bother with the 2019 remake. But The Lion King is really, again, about a relationship between a father and a son. Little Simba is learning from his dad, King Mufasa, king of the Pride Lands, and Mufasa gets murdered. Poor little Simba goes into exile, and Simba's got to figure some stuff out. And I mean, probably it's a film we've all seen, but there's really nothing I love more than that scene where Mufasa appears in the clouds to his son, and gets him straightened out, back on the path that he should be on. I just find that so powerful, and it's so beautifully done, with that wonderful Disney animation of again back from 1994. So really love The Lion King. Think it's a great Father's Day movie. Okay, last two movies are actually one's in the original, and then the other one is the remake, and it's Father of the Bride So, this film, the original Father of the Bride, came out in 1950, stars Spencer Tracy, and then Elizabeth Taylor, very young Elizabeth Taylor, plays the daughter in the film, and it's such a classic. Spencer Tracy, who is just such a terrific actor, but he, I think, just aces this role of this father who's overwhelmed by all the planning and all the money and everything involved. It's kind of like pre-Bridezilla, but still that same kind of concept, but it's really a sweet film in the best sense of the word, because again, I think it's really about a father letting his child grow up, and so a great film. There was also a really fun remake of this film in 1991 with Steve Martin in the role of the father. I think that this father, I think a lot of people like this Father of the Bride remake too. It was very popular. They also made a sequel of this a sequel of the remake, but it also stars Diane Keaton, who plays the wife, Kimberly Williams Paisley. I think back then she was just Kimberly Williams, but she plays the daughter, and it's both of those you can't go wrong with either one. The 1950 version just happens to be on Turner Classic Movies on Father's Day at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So check your local listings. But if you want to actually check out the original Father of the Bride from 1950 with Spencer Tracy and Elizabeth Taylor, it's on TCM on Father's Day. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Links and more information about the movies discussed in today's podcast can be found in the podcast notes on my blog at moviespastandpresent.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, and links are also on the blog. So, as always, I hope you'll enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Until next time, thanks for listening and be safe out there.